Yeah, I think he's returning from vacation, I believe. Doesn't look like we have, there's no public comments, no pledge of allegiance, so we'll just call the meeting to order. And looks like the number 2 thing on the agenda is to discuss our proposed budget for our fiscal year 2023-2024.
Okay. Our budget assumptions have changed a little bit. Our preliminary budget includes a 10% increase in health care. It looks like that may go down a little bit. A 5% COLA has been budgeted for October 1. TMRS contribution rate has been increased from 13.11 to 13.75. City participating amount of $42,000 has been included for the TxDOT signalization grant. Second year of the tornado siren program is included in capital outlay. Our city manager, fleet mechanic, events manager, finance director, and assistant finance director personnel costs have been allocated. Their costs have been allocated between funds. We added 2 patrol and 1 communication positions to the police department. The 2 patrol are offset some of the cost with SOR reimbursement if the school agrees to do that. We've added additional labor to the street department. We've added 1 maintenance tech to utility maintenance. We increased the water fees by approximately 5%, 9 months with the increase, blue bonnet rate, and 3 months at no increase. Added 2 part-time positions to the Exchange Event Center and reduced contracted services to offset those costs. And we upgraded the current event coordinator part-time position to full-time.
And who is that current event coordinator?
Gracie Sailors.
Oh, okay. Good deal. We're in good shape then.
Yes, Gracie, yes. Okay, and then this is just your summary, which is shows all the different funds going across, what the revenues are, and then the expenditures. And it basically is telling you we have zero-based budgets except in the park fund, and then the industrial park fund, and the event center. And those are due to transfers. The next slide is your combined revenue, all funds. And if you'll look, last time Mayor Herring asked what was the difference between the services for last year and this year. Y'all have a single sheet, and that is last year's, the same chart, so then you can compare the two to see the differences. And I would encourage you to look at the dollars, because the percentages are kind of misleading because we've gone up quite a bit. The next slide is our expenditures by category, which that really hasn't changed as far as our contracted services is one of our larger, and of course personnel services. We are a service industry, so that's no surprise. Then really what I need from y'all tonight is on the next slide, and this is the ad valorem rates. Our certified came in at 722,170,029. And so what this sheet is showing you at our current rate, based on that valuation, what our taxes would be. And then the voter approval rate, which is the tax rate that y'all normally approve, it shows that there's 267 loss in M&O, a 235,000 gain in INS. And you'll also note that our rate, it was 548,028 this year, and that would make our rate for next year 543,581. So very little change there. And then you have your current houses on current taxes on a $100,000 residence. I just use 100,000 because it's easier to calculate. If you're looking at, you know, if you got a 200, you double it. If you have a 50, you half it. So that way it's just easier computation. And at the bottom of that sheet, you'll see our current rate, our no new revenue rate, which is significantly less, our voter approval rate, and then the de minimis rate, which is the rate where we can raise $500,000, but that would put it at 0.602. And the next slide is just the same thing, except this is for the no new revenue rate, just the calculations based on the same property value. And then also the last sheet, next sheet to that, is the de minimis rate, just showing you the difference of what that would be, and an explanation of why we have the de minimis rate. Then our direct and overlapping property tax, that didn't change, nor did our assessed value and estimated actual values. Then we get to general debt service. And our general debt service is what our tax rate is based on, our 22 cents. And that's for $1,657,006. And you see the different COs and the PFCO that we're paying out of debt service broken down. Next slide, please. Next. Okay, there we go. Now we're all on the same page. And so that is there. And then the next page is all of debt service combined. That's just showing the 2.1 million. So that includes the general debt service and then the debt that we also pay through the utility funds. Then the next slide, we have the general fund revenue by source. And then you have general fund expenditures by department, which we've tweaked some numbers, but overall it's pretty much the same as what you saw last time. Then on general fund, you'll see the capital requests. The fire department we're doing the tornado sirens as mentioned earlier. We have that budgeted. In the street, we have a new grapple truck. You see some things have had to be deferred till later because of the changes in the rate. Our patrol vehicles, we already have those as far as they're supposed to take delivery right after October. They were ordered in February, and they're just now coming in. So those will be paid for, and then they need a new server. Then in Parks Department, they've asked to refinish the pool. Well, they were asked to refinish the pool. I'll rephrase that. So that's $120,000, and then a mower and a gator, and then of course we'll continue to do upgrades that we can at Bewley or Casting Park. Code has asked for a mower and trailer, and Fleet asked for a tire machine, and their work truck was deferred, as was the street departments, but the street department just received one a couple of weeks ago, so they said, yeah, they could defer one more year. Then on the utility fund, which is the next slide, you'll see a breakdown of the revenues there of 5.7, with expenditures at the same when you include the transfers out, which is your debt service. And then the next slide is your utility expenses by category, which you'll see contracted services is one of our major, and that's a lot of that is Bluebonnet water, because that's one of our highest expenditures in the utility fund. It is for contracted services. Then the next slide is what water production has asked for. We're looking at the generator for Johnson Drive and well 1B repairs. Utility maintenance is looking, the first two items are part of the new radio read system. And then they have a hydraulic hammer. We only have one, and we keep having to get it repaired. And if it goes down, then they're kind of stuck if we have a water leak. And then they've asked to replace 2 2009 trucks and a backhoe. The backhoe the last one we bought was like in 2014, so I mean it's been used pretty hard. Then the wastewater plant is looking for a sidewalk and slab and the Spring Valley lift station fence. And then airport, we're looking at $314,000 next year, with the same, of course, in expenditures, but of that, part of that is going to go into his contingency fund as well. Cemetery, we're looking at $75,000 in revenue, and still extending the fence at the cemetery in their capital. And then Jimmy's not here. The next sheets you have, and I don't know if y'all even want to look at them, but he usually likes to, and that's the tax calculation worksheet that the county. Do what?
I'm sorry, just beat me.
Yeah,
The
it's,
whole thing used to be that long right there.
yeah. Well, they sent it Friday at 5:05 PM, so we made the changes, and so we have the rates now that they should be. I mean, so there should be no adjustment. The voter approval rate, the de minimis, and the no new revenue are all, I mean, that's what the rate should be going forward. So that made me feel better. Also, you have a new packet with the new sheets and the changes in there to review. And like I said, you have this to compare your two revenues, you know, the 2 years with. And anybody that would like a copy of the tax calc, I'd be happy to provide. Oh, come on, Renee. I'd be happy to get you a copy of it. But, so I don't know if there's any questions that y'all may have.
Remind me again, we're finishing the pool.
The county inspector said if we didn't do it this next year, we had to do it the following year.
So some year we've got to get it done.
Yeah, it's peeling.
Okay.
And so they
That's
need
gonna-
to, I mean, it probably hasn't been, well, I know it hasn't been done in 10 years, so.
They've done at that, right?
It's plaster right now,
It's good.
and it's been painted, at least a dozen times in the last few years. They paint it every year before the pool opens. And actually, that's not really good for the pool, but it's allowed us to stay open as long as possible without having to spend the money to redo the bottom of it. Unfortunately, it's not staying anymore. The concrete's not coming through.
How is the attendance at the pool this summer?
We have hit record attendance this summer with not only season passes, but we stayed open a little bit longer in the morning, a lot longer in the afternoons, and all but 3 parties got booked. So we booked almost every party on the calendar,
Wow.
or every available party out.
Yeah.
That's good.
I know there've been times that we've talked about, are we gonna keep going with the pool and
We learned about that.
because it is not a moneymaker. But obviously with that report, yeah.
Do it better.
You
Gonna
just
keep
gave
going forward.
Angela a shiver.
I wasn't gonna ask that one more time.
No, we're not asking that question. It's a good public service. So it's good to hear. Council, what other questions do we have that I know everybody's probably been looking at some different areas in the budget, so if you have any questions, let's let them loose now.
On the budget notes that you gave us, so we're adding 2 new, now are these 2 new positions to patrol?
Yes.
Okay, so they're not like ones that need to be filled or
No.
anything?
No, they're
just
2
brand-
additional.
Now, are those with the school? Cause it says offset some of the cost with the SRO reimbursement for
One
MIS.
SRO will be added, according to Travis last Wednesday morning, he told me that they're gonna add one. So
So they'll be helping us with the
we'll
cost
have
of one
2,
of those?
yes. We'll have
Okay.
2
We have
SROs.
2 over there.
Correct.
Okay.
And I guess the 2 vehicles are for the 2 new officers?
What we do is every year we try to do 2. And so by the time you get to 5 years, you're back to replacing the old, you know.
Your first 2.
Yes, because it's hard when you do 10 at one time and then they all, you know, run out of gas at the same time. So we try to just keep it rolling 2 every
probably will end up keeping one of the older ones
That makes sense.
for the SRO, but I haven't really specifically talked to James about that.
Okay.
But that would be my guess, based on what he's done in the past.
And then our newest vehicle is one of the cars. Is that what we're gonna continue to do, or, okay?
The Charger you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
No, that was just a great deal. That one came fully loaded.
That one
It
came
only
because
has
we had
20,000 miles, 26,000 miles.
that was to replace one that was wrecked.
Okay.
So it was used and we found it and got it quicker.
Okay.
Not a real fan of the Dodges myself.
Well, yeah, because are they
No,
still like
what
on,
we're fixing to buy are Tahoes.
okay, cause I was like, are they still on back order? I know during COVID it was
Mm-hmm.
crazy, okay.
You know, we've had to hunt even for the vehicles that we have got. We've gone through buy board to see who has and call them. You know, some of them are like, well, in 6, 8 months, no, thank you. You just move on to the next buy board year till you find somebody that actually has a vehicle.
So far, knock on wood, we've been fairly fortunate. And I probably just jinxed us, but
And then the one communication, that's an addition as well. It's
It's a
not a,
signature.
okay, it's not filling something that we have open, okay.
We have a vacancy, well, in both patrol and dispatch, so we'll fill those, but those are also their additional.
Do the schools help us with that, with like a dispatch, or no, just
No.
SRO cost, okay.
Yeah. On that one that says they're gonna increase the water 5%, is that what they're gonna increase our water bills 5%?
No, they're increasing ours by 14.
That's what I was thinking to say, that
But
down there
looking at it, it's
14%?
Correct.
So
but
that'd be
it's not-
$20 on our bills.
when we, looked at the budget there, the timing of the line that they're having to build that causes the debt that requires the increase is such that we were able to delay the increase until such time that debt is sold by them. And so the, general manager suggested that we wait. And he's not sure when, but it's gonna be at least 9 months, and it may be the whole year, but at some point, they're gonna go up that full 14% just to cover the payment. And some other things.
You're gonna have to explain that to the people of this town,
Oh,
cause they're
yeah,
gonna wanna
I
know
know.
why. Why?
Well, it's going up, and our wholesale rate will be more than what we're currently
Mhm.
billing, so, I mean, it has,
Yeah, but it's gonna
And
be
that'll-
close to $20.
And that'll take it back to October?
No.
Okay.
No, we're not going up until it happens.
It hasn't happened yet.
We planned it for 3 months without it, and 9 months. So we're giving them from July to December, you know, which is 5, 6 months.
Yeah.
So that before they get, because we don't know when exactly we're gonna issue the debt.
Okay.
We're guessing.
So that's how we just budgeted that if you won't do it, you won't see it unless it.
Right, until it actually happens. I was just curious, 'cause,
That gives us a little more time to put the information out
yeah,
there.
you're gonna have to put it out there, cause they're gonna ask the question,
But it's,
cause they're gonna notice that.
and speaking of water, as of today, we are at stage 2, which means a 10% voluntary reduction. That occurred just this morning. So
Stage 2.
water is gonna be the same importance that it's always been and harder to get, which means the price is gonna go up over time, just demand and supply.
Yeah.
Will we put that in the newspaper too, so everybody will know?
Oh, yeah,
or-
I'll be talking to James about it pretty quick.
Yeah,
We got a little time, we'll get the budget adopted, but then make that a feature piece.
But you know something, since I've been on the council all the years, that's one of the hardest thing for us to deal with, and even me as a councilman up here, you know, I kind of basically, you know, when the budget is done and explained and everything, it's sort of kind of can see and understand as to why, to a point. But if you notice, that's one of the things, only thing most citizens, they'll sit out there and, you know, talk and complain and write and everything, but you only very seldom hear them, well, one or two, but actually come to the council meeting and really express their dissatisfaction. But I just think that's one of the things we definitely need to really explain and try to, and still other people are gonna tell them they still not gonna accept it or understand it. But you have to try to explain it to them, because the talk of the town and towns, cities all around, and McGregor got the highest water bill. I know y'all didn't hear that, you hear it all the time. So, you know, you have to be able to sort of explain that to citizens, you know, and not just each time it come up in your water rate now, and people gonna keep paying it, what they gonna do, they're not gonna stop using the water, so they can pay it. But even the fact of us as councilmen up here, we should be able to sort of be able to explain some as to where they can kind of understand. And, you know, the fact, cause just like with them, we as councilmen, it's not like we ain't paying our water bill. You know, it's not like, you know, you putting it on the citizen or something. So, but I just think when you be able to try to have them understand, you know, it's some people, no matter what you tell them, they still gonna say, I ain't no reason why the water should be that high. And, you know, and I know a lot of people hear it, you know, because they do it. I've been up here all these years, and I mean, you heard it and heard it.
I hear it at my own house.
me too.
I explain it to my wife.
Me too. But I'm just saying, you know, that way, if that's possible, that you can kind of explain it. I think it helps. It's not going to satisfy everybody. It's not going to stop people from complaining or even saying that. But, you know, be able to kind of express and tell them why. Because, you know, people not going to stop using water. That's understandable. But yet still they have the right to question, to ask that question, to be concerned, you know. I mean, that would be with anybody spending your money. So, and like I said, all that, you know, they can say that about other towns, but they don't live in other towns. They live in McGregor. They live in the city of McGregor. So, you know, I just think that we are, I'm not saying that we are not, but I think that as best we can, we need to be able to kind of explain that, you know.
Yeah, just to let the citizens know, hey, you know, this is probably gonna happen, and this is maybe why, or this is why, and, you know, maybe Kevin can make one of them cool videos explaining that to the public and put it on our Facebook or the website. And
I'm thinking about Jim Lilly making a good video.
And just so the citizens are aware, you know, and in the loop, because I'm pretty sure if not, that's, I mean, even with the little small increase that we just had, about $10, you know, I got calls, hey, why is my bill even just a little higher?
Oh, that was for trash.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
explained that too.
yeah, so just a way to get it out to the citizens, Kevin, you know, I think would be good and helpful.
We'll do it.
Is there any way that we can, I mean, we talked about this several months ago, about the pool, and that, you know, it's a huge service to the community, but I don't think that most people understand how much we subsidize that activity, you know, because, you know, the rates are really low, and so a lot of our resources go towards, you know, keeping those rates low. Is there any way we could give them just an estimate of, hey, this is, you know, this is important for our community, so that's why we decided to do this, and by the way, you know, this is how much is coming out of your, you know,
We certainly
your
can.
city's resources.
It's only math, we can handle it.
Yeah, I think that would go a long way into helping people understand where a lot of this money is going.
Yeah.
Towards parks and the exchange center, and because, you know, they get upset because they may not use it, but, you know, many of our residents do.
Yeah. The more I'm out in the parks, the more I'm seeing they're
Yeah.
full.
Yeah,
People love it.
it's a huge draw to the and improvement to our quality of life here.
Yeah.
So
Other questions or comments on
is the state's newly approved property tax, you know, what effect is that going to have on our city budget?
It
None.
doesn't affect us, it's
It's
schools.
just for schools?
Just
Okay.
for schools.
I thought so, but,
It gives you options, but you've always had options, and the options now are higher. But it's required at the school.
okay.
Cause that's the only people they can control.
That's
They
how
give
they,
them money all the time, you know, they can take it
Well,
away.
that's
the
how
only
they cut
people they're
people's
trying to
property
control.
taxes with the school property taxes.
Yeah, with
because
school,
the
but that's
state
how they
doesn't
did it,
collect
cause
property
they
taxes.
can control the schools, cause they give them money.
Yeah,
They pay for their teachers and everything.
okay, thank you.
They can control us too.
They can, they started to do us, they want us to raise our sales tax.
They have-
That's a terrible idea.
They have passed a law that, it's called the Death Star legislation. It's being challenged in court by Houston and San Antonio now. But it's where the state preempts local ordinances on the wholesale
Oh,
basis.
yeah, I saw
So
that.
that remains to be seen where that will go.
Yeah.
That's not a good thing.
Well,
We have to vote on this thing, that property tax.
Yeah.
And they wanna give the retired teacher a COLA. We have to vote on those November.
yeah,
Both of
it's,
them.
this
I can't get a
legislative
COLA, so
session
y'all vote
was,
on it.
this legislative session was brutal once again,
It
and
was.
we won't know all the outcomes for a few months.
I do know those two, cause I heard those. They're nuts down there. Absolutely nuts. Okay, what are we doing now?
Anybody else have any thoughts? Questions?
Just thank you for your hard work on the budget,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then, so I had a question though, when I was looking at it on, the city manager budget. So Kevin, do you get paid out of the industrial park funds?
I moved it there, actually yes and no. What I did was I spend an inordinate amount of my time servicing that industrial park. In fact, have never charged that industrial park for any of that. The industrial park fund's pretty healthy, it's gonna get even healthier, and just thought we would transfer the same amount as what it takes to pay me from it to the other funds in order to pick up an extra police officer, pick up an extra parks person, that kind of stuff. And then leave it there for a period of time in order to kind of catch up for the last 12 years, and then probably equalize it to what my time is all the way around. That was just the thought, certainly not anything you have to do, but that's how we afforded to do some of the things we did in the budget as far as other personnel.
Yeah, I was just kinda looked and I was like, I mean, I get it, I mean, with everything that's going on out there, I can only imagine the time that you spend.
Andrew and I play Tetris a lot with Google Earth Pro and the lots out there. It's consuming, but it's also where a lot of this new money will come from in the future to do other things. That's a real investment in a long-term future of the community, and that's where it is. That's not very many communities in the state of Texas or anywhere else for that matter have the opportunities we have out there. It's been fun. I'm enjoying it.
And that's all I was gonna say. I know, like, in the past too, people have been like, I don't understand where it's coming from, or, you know, and I noticed this year, like, you've kind of put on their utility fund, general fund, and broke that down for us, so thank you for that. I appreciate that, because it helps us to explain too.
Okay. Item 3, discussion and possible action regarding approval of a proposed fiscal year 2023-2024 tax rate to report to the McLennan County Property Tax Department for publication and notification of public hearings if required.
What's that tax rate? What was the tax rate? Uh-huh.
.543591, which is .004437 less than last year.
Just wondered. Oh,
See, I can do math too.
we have to make a motion and set
So, again, before we do this, let's,
Or do we have to wait till the public hearing's over?
yeah, that's
No,
what
we don't have a public hearing.
Okay.
This is just giving the county their proposed, or the city's proposed tax.
Okay.
okay. And
So I'll make a motion.
are we proposing at the .54?
43591? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept the tax rate, whatever it was, at,
Voter approval.
with voter,
I just say voter approval. right?
voter approval tax rate. How's that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then,
I
Somebody
sec-
second?
I second.
okay.
I don't think you're listening.
Everybody got that? We got a motion and a second on, accepting the voter approval tax rate at .543591. We have any discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to item number 4, Mayor to announce public hearing on tax rate and public hearing on proposed fiscal year 2023-2024 budget on August 14th, 2023, and final adoption of budget and tax on August 17th, 2023. Looks like we're gonna have a busy August.
Yes.
I did it
Very busy.
Thursday.
And then we have our regular meeting next,
Yeah.
soon, don't we?
But
What days are
14th.
those?
Okay.
14th and the 17th, a Monday and a Thursday.
Monday to Thursday. Okay. Well, we're gonna be busy.
All right, item 5, announcements from the city manager.
Really don't have anything to add, except I was out all day with 2 grandsons, and I came in and a bunch of your staff people were visiting with a retail prospect in that room. So I say that to say, we're busy and it's some pretty cool stuff. That's really all I have. Housing, I will say this, all of our housing subdivisions are slowing down because of prices. Concrete is the big
Back.
factor right now. And we have a plea from one today to help figure out what we can do, so we'll be taking a look at that, so we can come up with, may bring some proposals back to you on the 14th. That's all I have.
Okay, comments from the mayor or council members?
That's you. Comments?
I don't have anything.
Me either. Got
Okay.
anything?
Item 7, adjournment.
That's good.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.